If your dog follows you into every room, stares at you while you eat, tilts its head when you speak, or suddenly sighs before lying down, you probably think you already know why. Most dog owners do. They assume these little habits are simple, predictable, even meaningless. But what if almost everything you believe about those everyday behaviors is wrong? The truth is, your dog is communicating constantly, not with words, but with a language built from instinct, emotion, and thousands of years of living beside humans. Scientists who study canine behavior have discovered that many actions we dismiss as ordinary actually reveal something far more fascinating. Some are signs of trust, others are silent questions, and a few may be telling you that your dog needs something you have never realized. By the end of this video, you will never look at your dog's everyday behavior the same way again. Every day, dogs perform dozens of small behaviors that barely catch our attention. A quick glance across the room, a slow stretch after waking up, following us to the kitchen, bringing a favorite toy without asking us to play, resting quietly near our feet instead of across the room. Because these moments happen so often, we rarely stop to think about them. We explain them with simple answers. My dog is hungry. My dog wants attention. My dog is just being lazy. Sometimes those explanations are true, but only part of the time. Modern canine behavior research suggests something much deeper is happening. Dogs do not repeat behaviors without reason. Many of their daily habits are shaped by emotion, social bonding, learned experiences, and instincts that have evolved over thousands of years alongside humans. In other words, your dog may be saying far more than you ever imagined. And the first behavior is one that almost every owner misunderstands. Few behaviors are more common than this one. You stand up. Your dog stands up. You walk into another room. A few seconds later, you hear familiar footsteps behind you. Most people laugh and call their dog a shadow. Others assume their dog simply wants food. But that explanation misses the bigger picture. Researchers who study attachment in dogs have found striking similarities between the bond dogs form with their owners and the secure attachment seen between young children and trusted caregivers. Your presence becomes more than something familiar. It becomes a source of emotional stability. That does not mean every dog that follows its owner suffers from separation anxiety. In fact, many emotionally healthy dogs choose to stay close simply because you are their safest place. Think about wolves living within a family group. Staying together increases safety, improves communication, and strengthens cooperation. Although dogs have changed dramatically through domestication, that ancient social instinct never disappeared. It simply found a new family, you. So when your dog quietly follows you from the living room to the kitchen, it may not be asking for anything at all. It may simply be choosing to remain connected to the person it trusts most. That changes the meaning completely. It is not neediness. It is often trust in its purest form. But if staying close is about connection, why do some dogs suddenly stop following their owners altogether? That answer becomes clearer when we look at another behavior many people misunderstand. Have you ever looked up to find your dog already watching you? Not barking, not whining, just quietly staring. Many owners immediately become uncomfortable. Some assume their dog wants food, others think the stare is a challenge or a sign of dominance. But decades of research have largely dismantled the old dominance myths that once shaped dog training. Instead, scientists discovered something remarkable. When dogs and humans share gentle eye contact, both experience an increase in oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone. It is the same hormone involved in strengthening emotional connections between parents and children. That means your dog's gaze is often doing something extraordinary. It is reinforcing your relationship. Of course, context always matters. A relaxed body, soft eyes, and loose posture tell a very different story than a stiff body. Paired with an intense stare, most of the quiet looks your dog gives you throughout the day are not demands. They are check-ins. Your dog is reading your face, your mood, and even subtle changes in your expression long before you speak, long before you realize you are feeling stressed. Your dog may already know something has changed, and that raises an even bigger question. If dogs pay such close attention to our faces, why do they sometimes tilt their heads the moment we begin talking? Most owners think it is simply because their dog looks adorable. The real reason is far more fascinating. A head tilt is one of those moments that can melt almost any dog owner's heart. You say your dog's name or ask a simple question, and suddenly, their head leans to one side as if they are trying their hardest to understand every word. Most people think it is just a cute habit, but the truth is far more interesting. Researchers studying canine cognition believe that for many dogs, a head tilt is connected to attention and information processing. Some dogs appear to tilt their heads more often when listening to familiar words, especially the names of favorite toys, people, or routines. In one fascinating study, a small group of exceptionally talented dogs consistently tilted their heads when hearing words they had successfully learned. Scientists believe the movement may help them focus on sounds or retrieve meaningful memories associated with those words, but hearing is only part of the story. Dogs do not rely on language the way humans do. They listen to your tone, they study your facial expressions, they notice your posture. Even the speed of your breathing can become part of the message. A slight tilt of the head may help them gather all of those clues at once. In other words, your dog is not simply hearing you, it is trying to understand you. That small movement represents curiosity, attention, and an incredible willingness to communicate across two completely different species. Think about that for a moment. Your dog has spent its entire life learning the patterns of a language it can never truly speak, and yet it keeps trying. That effort says something profound about the bond you share. But here is where things become even more surprising. Sometimes, your dog is not looking at you at all. Instead, it suddenly lets out a deep sigh before settling down. Most owners never think twice about it. They should. Your dog circles its bed, lowers itself slowly, lets out one long sigh, then closes its eyes. It is such a familiar routine that most people barely notice it anymore. Some assume the sigh means frustration. Others think the dog is simply tired. Sometimes that is true. But canine behavior experts say context changes everything. Dogs sigh for several different reasons, and emotion is often one of them. After an exciting walk, a fun play session, or a peaceful evening beside their favorite person, a relaxed sigh can signal emotional release. It is the body's way of saying, everything feels safe now. Humans experience something similar. After finishing a stressful task or finally relaxing at home, we often exhale deeply without even realizing it. Dogs appear to do something remarkably similar. Their nervous system shifts from alertness into rest. The sigh marks that transition. But not every sigh carries the same meaning. Your dog sighs repeatedly while staring at a toy you have stopped throwing, or while waiting impatiently near the door. It may be expressing mild disappointment or unfulfilled expectation. That is why understanding the whole picture matters. Body posture, ear position, tail movement, facial expression. One behavior alone rarely tells the entire story. Dogs communicate in combinations, not isolated signals. And once you begin seeing those combinations, an entirely new language starts to appear, which brings us to another behavior people often misunderstand. One that many owners mistake for stubbornness. It happens almost every day in some homes. Your dog proudly carries over its favorite toy, places it near your feet, looks at you, then, before you even reach down to grab it, it walks away. Confusing, isn't it? Most people think their dog has changed its mind, or that it was never interested in playing, but behaviorists see something much more meaningful. For many dogs, bringing an object is not always an invitation to play fetch. Sometimes it is an invitation to interact. Dogs are highly social animals. In the wild, cooperative behaviors strengthen relationships within the group. Living with humans has simply changed what those social rituals look like. A favorite toy can become part of a conversation rather than the conversation itself. Your dog may be saying, I want to share something with you. I want your attention. I want us to do something together. Whether that becomes play, affection, or simply acknowledgement often matters less than the interaction itself. Some dogs even use treasured objects as a way of expressing trust. Instead of guarding something valuable, they willingly place it near the person they feel safest with. That is a remarkable level of confidence. It is easy to overlook because the action seems so ordinary. But from your dog's perspective, it may be deeply personal. And here is the fascinating contradiction. The same dog that eagerly shares a toy with you might refuse to share food with anyone. Why? Because not every resource carries the same emotional value. Dogs constantly balance trust, instinct, and experience, understanding. That balance changes how you interpret almost everything they do, but perhaps no everyday behavior is misunderstood more than the next one. It is something your dog may be doing right now. Without you even noticing, your dog walks over without making a sound. It does not bark. It does not paw at your leg. Instead, it simply presses the side of its body gently against you. Most owners smile and assume their dog is just looking for a comfortable place to stand. But that quiet lean can mean much more. In the canine world, physical contact is powerful. Dogs use touch to strengthen social bonds, reduce uncertainty, and communicate trust. Puppies often sleep pressed against their littermates because close contact provides warmth and a sense of safety. As they grow older, that instinct does not simply disappear. It often becomes part of how they connect with the people they love most. That means when your dog leans against your leg while you are cooking, watching television, or standing in the yard, it may not be asking for anything at all. It may simply be saying, "I feel safe with you." Behaviorists also know that gentle physical contact can help regulate a dog's emotional state. During uncertain moments, staying close to a trusted person can reduce stress and increase confidence. Your calm presence becomes something your dog can rely on, but context still matters. If a normally confident dog suddenly begins leaning on you during thunderstorms, fireworks, or visits to unfamiliar places, it may be looking for reassurance. Your dog is not trying to control you. It is looking for stability, and there is something deeply touching about that. Long before humans built homes or fences, survival depended on staying close to those you trusted. Thousands of years later, your dog still carries that ancient instinct. Only now, you are the one it chooses. But here is something even more fascinating. Sometimes your dog is not trying to get closer. Sometimes it walks away completely, only to look back at you. Why would a dog leave if it wants to stay connected? The answer surprises many owners. Imagine you are on a walk. Your dog trots a few steps ahead, then suddenly stops, turns around, looks directly at you, and only continues. Once you catch up, most people barely notice this behavior. Others assume their dog is simply checking where they are. In reality, that simple glance may reveal one of the strongest signs of your relationship to animal behavior. Researchers describe this as social referencing. Dogs frequently look back at humans to gather information before deciding what to do next. They are not just checking your location, they are checking you, your facial expression, your body language, your confidence, your emotional state. If something unfamiliar appears ahead, many dogs instinctively glance back before reacting. If you remain calm, they are more likely to remain calm. 2. It is an extraordinary form of communication. Your dog has learned that your reactions help explain the world. Studies have even shown that dogs are capable of following human emotional cues in ways few other animals can. They notice hesitation. They recognize excitement. They often detect fear before we realize we are showing it. Think about what that means. Every single day, your dog is quietly asking, "How should I feel about this?" That question is built on trust, not obedience, not dependence. Trust, and perhaps that is the biggest misunderstanding of all. For years, many people believed dogs behaved because they wanted to dominate us, manipulate us, or simply get rewards. Modern canine science paints a very different picture. Most everyday behaviors are not about control. They are about communication. Every glance, every lean, every head tilt, every quiet sigh, every toy placed at your feet, every step taken behind you, every look over the shoulder. Each one is part of a language your dog has been speaking all along. The only thing missing was someone who understood it. If there is one idea to take away from this video, it is this. Your dog is probably communicating far more often than you realize, not through words, but through hundreds of tiny behaviors that, on their own, seem ordinary. The tragedy is not that dogs fail to communicate, it is that humans often fail to recognize the conversation. When your dog follows you from room to room, it may not be asking for food. When it stares into your eyes, it may not be demanding attention. When it sighs before falling asleep beside you, It may not simply be tired. Each moment is another reminder that your dog experiences the world through relationships. And in that world, you are one of the most important parts of it. That changes everything. Instead of asking, "Why is my dog doing this?" you try asking, "What is my dog trying to tell me?" That single question can transform not only how you see your dog, but also how your dog experiences life with you. Because the greatest gift we can give our dogs is not just food, toys, or long walks. It is the feeling of being understood. And perhaps, after today, your dog will finally be. If this video changed the way you see your dog's everyday behavior, let us know in the comments. Which of these 7 behaviors does your dog do the most? If you enjoyed discovering the hidden psychology behind your dog's actions, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Dogzi Lab, and turn on notifications so you never miss another journey into the fascinating world of canine behavior. Because the more you understand your dog, the stronger the bond between you becomes.